What is the right time to buy a property? This is one of the most common questions we actually receive. So let's discuss in this video how you should plan to buy your first property. And you will also find out if it's already too late and you should have bought something already last year, for example. So let's get started. First of all, in every financial plan, you need an emergency fund. If something happens back home, if any unexpected costs arise, this is really important. So, first of all, emergency fund, which is step one, always. We typically recommend to save 2 to 3 net salaries. It slightly depends on you how you feel well. If you say, if I have 2 net salaries on my bank account liquid, it's sufficient, then it's fine, okay? So if you have the emergency fund, let's say 10,000 euros is on your bank account. Now, the next step would be saving money to buy your first property. So let's say real estate. Let's consider you buy and rent out, because currently with higher interest rates, it doesn't make that much sense to buy home ownership. So let's say you, just to get started, to gain some experience, especially being a landlord, you buy an apartment for 200,000. To buy an apartment for 200,000, you need 3.5 to 5.5% for the buying tax and 2% for the notary. Normally, there is also a real estate agent involved, but if we would work together, we avoid typically working with a real estate agent. So we just look for properties where no real estate agent is involved, which would save you another 3.57% on average, which is obviously a lot of money. So now let's consider, just to make it easy, 7% equity. So you need 14,000 euros, 7% out of 200,000. So you need 14,000 euros, which means if you have 10 plus 14, so you have, let's say 24 or 25,000 euros in your bank account or in liquid assets, then it definitely makes sense to consider buying your first property. This is really important because we often meet people that have, let's say, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 euros in their accounts without actually using that money for any investment purpose, which obviously leads to losing money because of inflation. And it would have made more sense to buy one property or even already buying a second one. So this is the magic number to plan to achieve this on savings, to be in the position to buy real estate. Obviously, we try to avoid even investing this equity capital to create even more leverage, which means that we don't take 100% loans, so we don't take 200,000. We take, let's say, 107% loan, which is definitely possible or often possible in the current interest rate environment. So if you have 24 to 25,000 euros saved, then you should get started. If you have saved more, then you should have probably get started earlier. Now, let's say you don't have 24,000 euros in your bank account. So what's the plan? Well, the plan is pretty easy. You save, first of all, the emergency fund. If you say, I have 10,000 euros or 8, depends on your salary, in my bank account already, okay, fine. This should move to a so-called Tagesgeld Konto, which is a bank account with a higher interest, okay? Same flexibility, but just higher interest. So this money can also work. And now, let's say you have a savings rate of 1,000 euros per month that you could save. So we have 1,000 euros. And we need to achieve saving 14,000. So you know, times 14 results in 14,000 euros, which means in 14 months you're in the position to buy real estate. It's really important that you have the target, that you're also more motivated to save for this specific goal. And if you have achieved this goal, that you start actually considering buying real estate. Because the earlier you start, the more leverage you create, the earlier you achieve passive income, the earlier you're able to achieve financial goals. So it's really important and actually quite urgent to get started early. Yes, this would be a proper plan, let's say for someone who just finished university, or for someone who saved some money and is not quite sure what one should do with that money. Maybe just one thing to add, because we are primarily working with expats, and there is also the resident status, which is sometimes important. So let's say scenario 1, you're on a blue card. And scenario 2, you have permanent residence. Many people assume that if you are on a blue card that you don't receive a real estate loan. This is actually not true. This might be true if you go to a bank yourself and you don't have, let's say, this network and this experience in this field, then it's definitely true. But if you work with a specialist, for example, so we have access to many banks that would give you a proper loan even without any interest rate surcharge. However, let's say you're on a blue card and you are in 6 months eligible for PR. So let's say in 9 months you would have PR. Then I would probably recommend that you wait 9 months to have permanent residence in place, because this makes it just easier. Because some banks might not be available if you're on the blue card. And since we don't know upfront, okay, which bank might be the best one, might be the case that on the PR, the interest rate is slightly lower because we have access to another bank which would be unavailable if you don't have PR. Okay? But if you say, I'm just eligible in 2 years, so let's say you would lose 0.1% if you finance on a blue card. But actually buying real estate 2 years earlier gives you more profits than paying 0.1% and not doing anything for 2 years. Okay? So also here it depends which recommendation is the best one for you. But you should first of all definitely have the equity in place. Then we will double check, okay, what is your resident status? Does it make sense to wait even longer? Or would it make sense to actually get started early because it takes another 2 years because of any German language that must be in place? Okay? So if you would like to have help buying real estate, planning real estate, getting started in the real estate market, feel free to register for a free initial consultation. Visit our website and we're happy to help to find the best solution in your case. Talk to you soon.